Day one of camp today. They report yesterday. They practice today. And also, Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni, they speak. Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, 97.3 ESPN.com. On it, let's get a lot of insight on what happened today. On the first day of practice, Jeff Kerr, as the Eagles were back at the NovaCare complex. What's going on, man?
Hey, Mike, crazy day already. Just around the NFL, we got Aaron Rodgers unplugged.
Right.
Deshaun Watson shows up in a hoodie, then puts a jersey on. I'm telling you, Mike, we're not even at Eagles camp yet. We didn't even get to them today. Howie Roseman speaking was a real treat for us.
Yeah, I thought he had some interesting things to say. I'd like to kind of get some insight on from you and you know, how that kind of played out. Let's start with the Zach Ertz stuff. I mean, Howie Roseman essentially admitting today that he anticipates Ertz being on the roster to start the season.
Yeah, secretly, I'm doing the fist pump. I'm fired up that Zach Ertz is going to be on this football team. This team is so much better with Zach Ertz on it than him not being on it. And everybody wants to say, well, the Eagles won't run 12 personnel as much. No, but I feel like Nick Sirianni will adapt to that. You can line up Zach Ertz in the slot if you really want to, if you want to go a 3 wide receiver set. You can do a lot of stuff with Zach Ertz on the field. And quite honestly, Dallas Goedert is going to have to take that job away from Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz has a lot to prove this year. And let's be honest, Mike, he's not only playing for the Eagles, he's playing for his NFL future, a contract, maybe, and the Eagles probably want him to play well. So maybe a team will give him that third-round pick they covet.
Yeah, I know that the whole Ertz thing still seems like it's not a completed story at this stage. So how would you handicap seeing Ertz on the roster September 12th against Atlanta?
I think he's there. I will go by what the GM says at this point. Zach Ertz will be on the Philadelphia Eagles week 1. They anticipate Zach Ertz being there. Now, obviously, plans change. It is July 28th, so we still got 7 weeks for that. But I think Zach Ertz is going to be here for the duration of training camp, and I think we're going to see him week 1.
All right, so let's get to Jalen Hurts and how they handled that whole situation today. They were asked and pried and plotted, and they tried all different ways to get it out of them, including a question that was asked if Joe Flacco was going to get first-team reps. Before they got to Jalen Hurts, they said, look, Jalen took the reps with the one. He worked hard. He's earned it. We want him to take the reins. But then later on they were asked, well, is he the starter on the 12th? Well, we can't really say that yet. We don't know. Read the tea leaves here.
Well, the tea leaves are Jalen Hurts is our starting quarterback right now. And obviously we couldn't mention the guy's name, but we can mention it on this show. Deshaun Watson. We can mention him. If Deshaun Watson gets traded here, all bets are off. But right now, Jalen Hurts is this team's starting quarterback. And Nick Sirianni, Howie Roseman basically saying they want Jalen Hurts to take the reins of this job. It's not that he's the starting quarterback now. It's we want you to prove to us we don't need to trade for this guy. And I think the only way to do that is to actually see Jalen Hurts play, not in preseason games, but in regular season games. But obviously the Eagles can do so much more evaluation than we can sitting behind the mic based on what they see at practice and all the film and how Jalen Hurts responds to all this. And I got to tell you, Jalen Hurts, they can say whatever they want about how he practiced today. I think it was an A+ on his press conference. I thought it was an A+ for effort. I really got to give Jalen Hurts a lot of credit today. He just kind of looked straight in the face and said, this is my job. Come take it.
Right. And look, they say we want him to take the reins. It's obvious. I mean, the Eagles want him to be the starting quarterback. The worst scenario is that he is so bad that they can't play him. I don't see that happening. So outside of them just wanting to kind of keep the messaging of competition, he is the starting quarterback. Now, you mentioned unless they make a trade for Deshaun Watson. I would imagine a trade for Deshaun Watson would probably include Jalen Hurts in it anyway, right?
You would think, right? I mean, why would you, unless you find some way to give up all those 3 draft picks, which, by the way, Carson Wentz isn't helping the situation. We can get into that anytime we want. But, yeah, unless you include a boatload of draft picks and not put Jalen Hurts in there, but I wouldn't see why the Houston Texans wouldn't want, in lamest terms, he is a proven starter in the league. I mean, he's played 4 games, and he played particularly well in 3 of them in his 3 full games, and he's a prospect. He is still kind of a prospect in this league. So, yeah, he's a very intriguing player that you would think you would include in a trade, but I'll tell you what, if the Eagles would find a way to get Deshaun Watson and keep Jalen Hurts here, they can at least have an insurance policy in case something does go down with him.
All right, let's see. What else is on the agenda? There's so much out there today. Okay, so let's take a look at the Watson thing because, I was listening to Adam Schefter on my drive in today. He was on with Greeny, and he said there's a lot of anticipation that they might move him by the end of the week. So how does Howie Roseman kind of get involved there?
I said to Josh on Monday, I wouldn't be surprised if he was traded by my birthday, which is Sunday, August 1st. So, yeah, if Adam Schefter's thinking the same thing, I think the Texans want to get rid of this sooner rather than later. When you hear the multiple teams aspect of it, you have to wonder, are the Texans trying to get the Eagles to pay more? Are they trying to get the Denver Broncos to pay more? The Miami Dolphins to pay more? Whoever is interested in this guy. For all we know, the Washington football team could be interested in Deshaun Watson. We just don't know at this point. And
right, because as of right now, Jeff, to tell the listeners, Watson is not on any exempt list or anything. He is at camp with Houston and eligible to practice and do whatever everybody else is doing.
And the NFL has no plans on putting him on any exempt list either. And the NFL gave an explanation. We just don't have enough evidence at this time. And I mean, they could have enough evidence in October and November, and he gets suspended 6 games, and a team season can be ruined. But you know what? I got to go by what I know right now, unfortunately, and that is Deshaun Watson is at practice. And when Deshaun Watson is on the football field, he is a top 3 quarterback in the National Football League. And he's 25 years old.
And a key here, Jeff, is he has apparently been offered a plea deal, and he does not want to take the deal because he thinks he's innocent.
Yeah, and see, that's what worries me about this whole thing. Like, it's okay you think you're innocent, that's fine. But do you have any remorse for anything you might have done or, what you're alleged of doing? Or do you feel like you have to change? Because I'll tell you what, if I got 22 allegations against me from 22 different women, I would think I'm the problem here, but that's just me. I am not Deshaun Watson. I've never put myself in that situation. I just can't believe that he was out there practicing today. Like, I thought for sure the NFL would say, hey, look, you're in the building. That's fine. We won't do anything, but we got to keep you out of the limelight here. And the Texans, look, and David Culley said today, I was on the Texas news conference. He goes, look, he's been nothing but good here. Like, it's business as usual for him, and we're going to treat it as such. That's paraphrasing. That's pretty much what he said today.
Jeff Kerr, CBS Sports, 97.3 ESPN on the Eagles front, of course. What else do we got? Left tackle. How did that kind of shake out today?
Well, Andre Dillard was with the first team. I mean, I wouldn't look too much into that, though, because Jeff Stoutland said in June, those two are going to rotate. So Jordan Mailata could be with the first team tomorrow, and it's going to be – those two are going to alternate. This battle probably will not be settled until the 53-man roster is done. And, look, you couldn't even get a glimpse of how Andre Dillard really looked today because his practice was so quick, and it was pretty much, hour, 10 minutes. It wasn't long, and you really weren't getting that much of a feel for what Andre Dillard was doing or Jordan Mailata was doing. I think it was more of, let's get the guys' feet wet here. We're back at practice. And, I mean, too many people were evaluating Jalen Hurts for my blood anyway. Like, yeah, I know how it is. First practice of the year, just from all the years of playing football in high school and stuff, you're rusty. And so it wasn't really the only thing to take away out of this was Andre Dillard was with the first team today, and take that with a grain of salt. But overall, I kind of want to see a mean streak in Andre Dillard. I wanted to see him walk the walk, as you will, as what he said going into the year. It was, hey, I'm tougher now. I wasn't mentally tough. I wasn't physically tough. I bulked up. Social media stuff don't bother me anymore. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to win this job. So We'll see.
Devonta Smith admitted he did not have a good first day. I mean, is that – I don't want to say – by his – right. Well, the first thing I said – I'm laughing. I said the first thing I see is Devonta Smith dropped a pass, which is something, he doesn't drop anything. You come here and the first thing you do is drop a pass. Then you admit you didn't have a good day. There's no concern there. But I guess the whole wide receiving – how they roll those guys out will be a very interesting story, I think, these next 2 weeks. Where's J.J.? What's Fulgham's role? Rieger didn't practice much today. He was limited. I think the stories are just oozing with intrigue with that position.
Yeah, I agree. And, there's going to be battles here. And I said today on Birds 365, I was guest host today, and I forgot all about Travis Fulgham. I felt terrible. Like, I'm going down the roster, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's someone I forgot here. And then, of course, as soon as we go to commercial, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. Travis Fulgham's on this team, and he should make this roster just based on what he did last year. But you're right, Mike. It's who's going to be the X, who's going to play in the slot, who's going to be the Y, who's the deep threat. I think Devonta Smith, Jalen Reagor, and Travis Fulgham are safe here. But you got to wonder where Greg Ward fits, John Hightower, Wes Watkins. Is there going to be 6 guys? Is there going to be 5 guys? Is there going to be a 7th guy that comes in there? Or an undrafted free agent or something like that? We just don't know. But I'm really curious to see what they do with Travis Fulgham, because he does seem like he can play that Alshon Jeffrey role with the X. He could kind of be like maybe a T.Y. Hilton type player. Not saying he's going to be T.Y. Hilton, but he can kind of play that role if the Colts choose to do that. How the Colts chose to do that when Nick Sirianni was there. If the Eagles kind of, how can I put it in words? Integrate that offense in there. But yeah, you're right, Mike. Like, where's Devonta Smith fit? Is he an X? Is he, going to play that Paris Campbell, Zach Pascal type role and be that dump off guy that you give quick passes to and you let him get yards after the catch? It's going to be interesting.
Jeff Kerr, we're looking at the first day of practice for the Eagles at training camp. Howie Roseman signed Steve Nelson the other day. I know Monday you probably talked about it with Josh, but how that kind of changes the complexity of where this team is, both defensively and overall. Because, Steve Nelson himself, I explained it, Jeff, as he doesn't win you 4 or 5 games because you have, it's not like getting Jalen Ramsey. It might win you a game or two because of he's that good. But I think what it does is it makes you more competitive in every game that could make games that you just would not be competitive in to now being competitive in those games. And if you're competitive in a game, that could swing from a loss to a win.
Yeah, and he is not going to lose you again. I'll say that. Like, if we're going on baseball terms in terms of wins above replacement, Michael Jacquet's probably a -1, and Steven Nelson's probably, a 0 or a 0.5. He is one of those guys that you pointed it out, Mike. He's not going to hurt you. Like, all of a sudden, you have depth at cornerback now. You have 2 guys that can start on the outside. You can put Avonte Maddox in the slot. Zach McPherson, all of a sudden, is a valuable number 4 cornerback for you. And if the Eagles think he's ready to go, he can still learn from how to play slot from Avonte Maddox. He can learn under Darius Slay, learn under Steve Nelson, who is a pretty good cornerback in his own right. Like, the Eagles needed to make a move like this. It helps out a guy like Craig James, who's probably going to be number 5 cornerback. Again, it just makes the cornerback room better. It was really weak outside of Darius Slay just because of where everybody fit, because you didn't have an outside cornerback. You needed this guy, and you got him.
Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And if you're watching the show, you'll see Jeff. Of course, we'll do this a couple times a week as training camp is here. I know that getting Steve Nelson has certainly shored up that secondary. So you got Nelson, you got Maddox in the slot, you got Slay, you've got Harris, you got McLeod. So it seems that if they don't have an injury, this defense, I don't know, is it a good defense? If there's now, injuries have been a big problem for this team. But if they don't,
they're going to have injuries. So, but overall, if you're looking at just the 11 on paper, I think it's a top 15 defense, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I kind of like how Jonathan Gannon's probably going to blitz more. And again, Fletcher Cox admitted they're doing a 3-4 zone type. Milton Williams is playing D end, which I kind of like, because he can get after the quarterback a little bit for a defensive tackle. He's quick. Fletcher Cox plays the middle there. I kind of like that. You get to do multiple fronts, a.k.a. Matt Eberflus, Mike Zimmer. You've seen that over the years with them, so I kind of like that. I think that helps a guy like Jannard Avery. All of a sudden, you have depth at linebacker because Jannard Avery, they switched him to linebacker and they switched Joe Osman to linebacker, but they were also former edge rushers who could get after the passer. So that helps too. A little bit of the linebacking core. I like Alex Singleton. I like Eric Wilson. I don't know if I like anybody behind them. I think this defense has depth on the line. I think they have depth at safety. I'm a little concerned about cornerback, a little concerned about linebacker, but overall, I think top 15 unit is pretty respectable.
Yeah, I definitely think the starting defense, if no injuries occur, is a good, not great defense. If you get an injury, almost anywhere on this defense, you have a big hole all of a sudden. They do not have enough depth, in my opinion, at linebacker, corner, safety, and they're a little light on the defensive line too. even though I like the defensive line guys, if somebody gets hurt up front, I think they're in trouble.
Yeah, this isn't like offense where, say, Miles Sanders gets hurt. I think, obviously, it's a big hit, but they'll be all right. If an offensive lineman gets hurt, they'll be all right. But, yeah, you're right, Mike. On defense, outside of defensive end and maybe defensive tackle, I'm a little concerned there. So, do they need more depth? Yeah, but I think they got to see what these young guys got, especially a guy like Davion Taylor. I think he has something to prove this year. I mean, the guy was a third-round pick, and he pretty much did nothing last year.
All right, Jeff Kerr, we're looking at Eagles' first day of training camp. What did you think, too, of the way Jalen Hurts handled the questions about Deshaun Watson and all that stuff?
I love it. He pretty much just kind of downplayed it, like saying, hey, man, I'm the guy. Like, I'm not even worried about him. And, this is my team, and I'm going to take command of it. I love what he said, something like, the lamp isn't full. I got to remember the quote. I tweeted it. But it was something like, the lamp is never full or something like that. He had a bunch of, anecdotes today. Jalen Hurts is pretty confident. It was a lot different than the Carson Wentz thing where it's like, Jalen Hurts was ready to tackle everything. He even joked about it. He goes, oh, so this is what y'all's like, when everybody's asking him questions, He had a couple of us laughing today. I mean, you cannot knock the kid for his confidence. You really can't. I got to give Jalen Hurts a ton of credit there. I thought he handled the media really well. And look, he looks the part, plays the part of QB1, but will he execute when it's time? And I think that's what we're going to find out over these next 7 weeks, Mike.
Yep, that's for sure. Today, Hurts, from what we talked to Jeff Mosher earlier, he did make an observation that he thought Hurts struggled a bit today, throwing the football, not accurate, all that kind of stuff. And obviously, that's going to happen. I mean, this is a guy that –
Day one.
What's that?
Day one.
Day one, right. There's a guy, though, that has a lot of eyes looking at him, and but this is something that he's used to, obviously, hearing all this. He transferred, he got replaced, all that. So if there's somebody that can handle it. I thought one of the things, too, I think it was Howie Roseman that brought up, he was asked about, where this team is and all this stuff, and he went right to the offensive line. And I think that, to me, the messaging from Roseman this offseason, all right, the messaging from Roseman this offseason is that he thinks this team can compete. Do you see that as well?
I think so, too. I think Howie Roseman got a bunch of good veterans on one-year deals, Ryan Kerrigan, Steven Nelson, Eric Wilson, Anthony Harris, little patch and plays, and I think he looked at it as, look, our offensive line, we're deep because we had a lot of guys play last year. We're getting a lot of guys back. Our defensive line was one of the best in football getting to the quarterback, and we only rushed 4. What's going to happen when we rush more guys, when we call more blitz packages? And we're going to protect this quarterback. We are going to do what we did not do last year, where we failed Carson Wentz. We are going to protect Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts is going to make enough plays to make a difference. And I think Howie Roseman looks at this like he looked at the 2013 Eagles. That was a 4-12 football team, but they had a lot of injuries on the offensive defensive line. Everybody got healthy. They won 10 games. Chip had an innovative offense, and they made the playoffs and probably should have won a playoff game. I think the Eagles feel like in the NFC East, they can compete because I don't think anybody's banging down the door in this division saying this division is ours for the taking.
Yep, so much happened over the weekend with Steve Nelson here, Zach Ertz reporting. It's the day one, and we have plenty of coverage going on over at 97.3 ESPN.com, at Jeff Kerr, CBS on Twitter, and, of course, right here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. And we have plenty more coverage when Jeff's back on Friday. We have plenty more over on the website. We have plenty everywhere. Eagles back. It's good to have them back. It felt good to kind of, get them in the firing squad right off the bat. Is Jalen Hurts the starter? Well, we didn't get that answer today, but I think both you and I agree that Jalen Hurts will be the starter for this football team unless they make a trade for Deshaun Watson, how do you handicap that?
Well, I'll tell you what, Mike. We had 2 years where we could not be a training camp. Last year was a Zoom year. So, you pretty much got your first face-to-face with Howard Roseman, with Jalen Hurts. I'm surprised I didn't get to see Jeffrey Lurie today, honestly.
All right. Well, we'll keep our eye on that and everything that develops. Tomorrow they're back, and we'll have more with Jeff Kerr on Friday's edition here on the Sports Bash. All right, Jeff, take care, man.
Yep, sounds great. Thanks for having me on, Mike.